with your overall point of your favorite bit of the media day being interacting with the players, though, content question on that. Do you think those relationships actually help you capture them throughout the season?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So do you reckon that's why, as content
Why my
creators,
content's so good?
Oh God, yeah,
kidding.
no, that too. But do you think that's why, as content creators, we love building those relationships with the talent?
Yeah, no, definitely, because it just makes your life easier.
Yeah.
It makes their life easier, and it makes the output of the content better. Because if you build a rapport with them, they're just going to be comfortable with you. And I think that's the biggest part. You're going to touch on interviews later. That's the biggest part of, to me, interviewing as well. Because I did some work behind the camera. And I did some interviews at Media Day as well. And it's just like, if they're comfortable, if you can make them laugh, if you relate to them on some topic about their family or their hobby beforehand, they're going to be like, oh, he's just a pretty normal dude. Like, he's not some media guy that's just like, oh, come on, give us your deepest, darkest fear. Like,
let's touch on that while we're at that point, because I actually posted about LinkedIn. I posted about
weird double handling. Post about LinkedIn.
No,
that makes sense.
Sorry, no, posted about this on LinkedIn during the week about making athletes comfortable on camera.
You're literally like on LinkedIn. Boy, LinkedIn is great. Great platform.
Sponsored. But no, interviewing athletes and interviewing talent, you just mentioned it's such a big part of video production and what we do. What do you think makes a good interview? So you mentioned one point about connecting with them and not taking yourself too seriously. Why don't we rattle some more off?
That's a good idea. Well, I think, the connection, the comfortable, or maybe there's like 3 C's. Connection, comfortable.
3 C's again. No, I was going to say...
I don't know what the next one is, but it's definitely, those connection and comfortable is definitely the main things that I think of straight away. But what were you going to say?
Not to go one question to the other. So let's reword that. Don't follow the run sheet so strictly that when we're having a good conversation, it's sort of like this, that we've got a run sheet in front of us, but say you just hit a really good point about why a certain player, you're talking to a certain player, why he writes something on his shoes, and it's a really nice story about something deeper than basketball, and then you're just like, all right, so you're looking forward to versing the New Zealand Breakers on the weekend, and like
that's a great point.
Like, keep the conversation flowing, because that's when you're going to get the real conversation and the best bits.
I think I was watching on something on YouTube the other day where it was exactly like that. Where, to me, like, if you're listening to a podcast or an interview, sometimes they're the best bits because it actually flows on from something they're passionate about and something that they're talking about. But it also, like, it kind of makes the conversation go wherever it wants to go rather than...
And where they want to go, not just where you all meant to take.
And the other part of that is, like, I would hate to be a player on the opposite of the side of the camera and feeling like that person interviewing me doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got it might just feel like it's a checklist. Like you said, like, tell me about your family, and they tell you a really cool story about their son. And then they're like, they kind of give it back to you, and you're just like, round 1 will be fun.
Yeah.
Like, well, I just told you about my life story.
The people and I've seen this multiple times where they're opening up to you in that scenario, that situation, and you're literally looking at your phone like this.
Yeah, I know.
And you're just like deadpan, like, cool, yeah, sounds good. And it's just like such a way, like, you're never going to get people to open up that way. And it's tough because it is a bit nerve-wracking, particularly if you haven't had much experience, but it's important. Let them control a bit of the conversation.
I think that's hard. It is hard because you don't want to be that person on the other side of the interview where you're like going after that like question does die off. You do want to have something in the back of your mind, but again, you can almost just follow it up with a simple answer, a simple thing for them to bounce back on, and then you can move on to the different question.
And you can even stop. Like, interviews are always edited. If you stop and just be like, oh, you could literally be like, that was really insightful, thanks for sharing. All right, so the next question I've got, like, you can stop
editing. Power of editing. It actually doesn't matter. You make it seem so much smoother.
The other point, just to wrap up, your original point was on game day, because those players are connecting with you and actually know you from media day, or you form some sort of bond. I reckon they're more likely to look at your camera and actually give you something, particularly if it's like down the tunnel or pre-game, post-game.
Yeah, no. Definitely.
As opposed to some random trying to get a shot. If they know you, you're going to get bits of gold by them just like, even just allowing you to walk with them.
Well, it's like, it's the whole thing about it's all about who you know, networking-wise. It's all about who you know in this space as well, because you're right. If you see a familiar face, and everyone does it inside or outside of work, if you see a familiar face, you're automatically like more warm and bubbly with them.
you're not, you know why they're there, you know what they're doing.
And they're just people. The amount of times, they're like, when I first got to the NBL and even other instances with athletes and stuff, like that time, me and Michael met Novak Djokovic, like, really quickly. But you kind of hold them on this pedestal, like, oh, like what?
Do you
like,
remember?
is he gonna judge me? Like
Yeah.
if I say how are you the wrong way? Like I don't know. They're literally just people.
Yeah, I remember he was one that I actually feel like he gave off a very normal energy.
I don't remember too much about him honestly. I think
He's like posing and doing those shots in front of camera, but we were sort of getting the behind the scenes. But I feel like I remember him being quite laid back,
chill, quite quite calm actually.
And sometimes you sort of get this impression that you're going to give off this, like the whole vibe is going to be a bit cold in that room. But
Asshole vibe.
Oh yeah,
Not for him, but some not for him, but some athletes you're
Yeah.
like, oh, they're a bit whatever, but then you meet them and you're like, oh, you're actually completely different.
Yeah.
Which is
No.
really refreshing.
Yeah, it is. All right, cool. Anything else on your NBL Media Day?
No, I think
Highlights,
that's-
lowlights.
I think that's just definitely the best part. Using the FX6, that was
Oh
cool.
yeah, new camera. How was it?
It was very good. I didn't like a lot of the time. I enjoyed. There was only 1 or 2 times where I went handheld for like we did some clinics with kids and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But the most of the time was on the tripod. But the handheld stuff, it's amazing that little grip that comes with it. These ones don't have it, but the grip that comes with the cameras like FX6, it just makes you feel.
You wouldn't be used to that.
You know, I've literally never used something like that. And then when I did, you put your hand in it, and you're like, oh.
Did you go shoulder or holding?
No, it's just. Well, I don't think with FX6 like it's like a bigger camera, but I don't think it's like a.
No, because we used to do that, Carlton. Because you
Really?
can. I think when I say shoulder, just
Idiots.
no, because
Really?
if you want a shot that's like eye height as opposed to like here, it's
Ah.
actually quite comfortable.
That
Anyway,
might
you can
make
try it
sense.
next time.
Yeah, that might make sense.
Yeah.
No, just the grip and the.
I usually go one-handed zoom shots.
The plays are really tall. No, it did feel good. Confidence.
Who was the biggest asshole on Media Day? I'm kidding.
Marcel?
I was joking. I meant, like, give us some goss
My
on the player.
NBL colleagues are awful. No, they're lovely. Media, I will say, these trips are always great. With the people you do them with, like we actually, in all seriousness, have a great crew. And once you're traveling on the road, it can get busy, it can get exhausting, but they are good people and it makes it fun.
It's what brings you closer to your workplace as well, not just the athletes.
Yeah, speaking of making work content better.